Hi, folks. A common question that I will get from people is my hamstring is bothering me. Can I run through this or do I need to see somebody? Do I need to rest that? And it's a hard question for me to answer for a couple of reasons. One of which, of course, I'm not usually seeing the individual. It's via email, text, whatever, or something like that. But more importantly, even if I could see the individual, I am not a trained medical professional. Far be it from me to give you advice on whether or not you need to see somebody or rest that because I don't know. And the last thing I want is to say, oh, yeah, you're fine. You can run on that. And then they end up with a serious injury. And so as such, I've never really wanted to do a video about any of that because I don't want it to be perceived as medical advice. But of course, this is a video. So here's my big disclaimer. I'm not trying to tell you what you should or shouldn't do or that you shouldn't go seek out a medical professional. I will tell you what my personal thought process is when I have some type of a little niggle and what it is I do and how I decide, am I going to run on this or not, or will I continue running? So first and foremost, in anything in running, when in doubt, you should always do less. So if it's, should I run 15 miles or 10 miles, then maybe it should be 10. Should I rest or not? Maybe it should be rest. It's always good to say when in doubt, do less, because less is rarely going to hurt you and two more can finally hurt you. Now, there's a couple of situations where if I've got something, I'm definitely not going to be trying to run through it. One is if it's any type of a fracture. You really can't run through fractures. That jarring of that running has, that pounding is going to impact the ability of the fracture to heal. A fracture is something where you generally got to say cannot run. And finally, advice. If I have a doctor, physical therapist, whatever, tell me, no, I don't believe you should be running with this, then I'm going to listen to that advice. Now, I may go out and get a second opinion. I always try and go see podiatrist, ortho, whatever, that really understands runners because I think they give better advice to runners. But once I get that advice, I don't want to ignore that. So fractures, I'm not running through. And if I get advice not to run, I'm not going to do that. But most of the time, it's something where I feel a little something in my hamstring or my piriformis or my ankle or whatever. And I've got to make my own determination because I'm not going to go see somebody. Can I keep running through this or not? So here are the three screens that I use. So first and foremost, is there pain? Now, some people will tell you anything that doesn't feel normal is pain. It's just a degree of how much pain it is. I don't look upon it that way. To me, there's discomfort. There's an awareness. There's something there. I know it's there, but it doesn't hurt. It's not painful. Because if there's pain, I am not running through it. I would never run through pain. But I'm okay with something that is discomfort if it meets the next two screens that I have. So the next screen I'm going to look at, if I can get my paper up here, is whatever it is, does it cause me to change my gait or my pace? So if I've got, let's say, a little something going on with my knee, if that's going to cause me to run differently, then I shouldn't be running through that because a gait change, you're almost always going to end up with a compensation injury of some type. If it's changing the way that I run, then I shouldn't be running. And if it changes my pace, so what I mean by that is I might make a conscious decision that I'm just going to be running at an easy effort instead of something else, and that's okay. But if my normal easy is, let's say normal easy is a 9-minute pace per mile, and I find that now I've got to run 9:30 because it's too uncomfortable to run at 9, then I probably shouldn't be running. So if whatever I'm feeling makes me, it's my number 2, makes me change my gait or my pace, then I shouldn't be running that. But if it's discomfort, not pain, doesn't change my gait, doesn't change my pace, then I'm going to continue going, but I've got to meet my third screen is it can't be getting worse. Now, obviously, it's going to take a day or two to know, but if I've got that niggle in my knee, for example, and it's just uncomfortable but not painful, doesn't change my gait or pace, but it's getting worse, then that's an indication that I probably shouldn't be running or maybe I need to go see somebody about that. But if it's not getting worse, I'm maybe okay going through that. So I'll give you an example of that. When I was following advice, I had a half marathon coming up. It was about 2 weeks away, and I was getting some discomfort in my ankle. I can't remember which one. I thought, I better go get this checked because the last thing I want to do is go do the race and do some type of damage and then be out for 2 months or 3 months. So I went to a podiatrist. He took a look. He said, I probably either have some tendonitis or a very minor stress fracture in the ankle. The only way to tell is with an x-ray, but no matter what, he would give me the same advice anyway, which was, his advice was, actually, I'd advise you don't run on it, but I think you will anyway. So as long as it doesn't get worse, which is one of my criteria anyway, and you're able to live with the fact that it's going to take a long time to feel better, you can go ahead and run. So I went ahead and continued running. I had a successful half marathon. My ankle was bothersome for probably 4 or 5 months, so it was exactly like I said, but it never got worse, so I was able to run through that. So again, kind of in summary for me, as long as there's no pain, it's not changing my gait or pace, and it's not getting worse, I'm going to continue to try and run through it. If any of those are not true or it's going on for a long period of time, then it's probably time to go out and seek some professional advice for what I want to do. Because you always want to play the long game. It's never about the next run of this next race. It's about what the next 6 months or a year is going to be looking like. So hopefully that provides some help to you, but hopefully you never need to look at it.